This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 1241 of Horse Tip Daily, your almost everyday morsel of helpful hints, useful facts, and practical techniques for horse folks. Brought to you today by Clarion Hotel, Lexington. Greetings, horse people. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. Today's tip is an excerpt from the monthly Australian episode on Horses in the Morning. Show co-host Fiona Deering from Remote Coach talks about the importance of rider straightness and has some easy ways to find your own personal crooked areas and exercises to help become a straighter rider. And we'll get right to our tip after this from Clarion Hotel, Lexington.
If you're coming to Kentucky Horse Park for the Rolex or any other event, the best way to complete your Rolex experience is to stay at the nearby Clarion Hotel, just 4 miles from the horse park. At the Clarion Hotel, your experience will include a great room featuring a Tempur-Pedic memory foam bed, flat screen TV, and in the morning, a full free hot breakfast with eggs, sausage, waffles, and other great breakfast items. The Clarion is a full-service hotel with easy access off of I-75 at exit 115 with plenty of parking for your truck and trailer. The Clarion Hotel is also pet-friendly, so you can always bring along your furry friends. Best of all, you don't have to leave the hotel to enjoy fantastic Kentucky-style food and drink. Cortland's Southern Kitchen offers innovative Southern fare and a casual atmosphere, or you can relax at the Sports Page Bourbon Bar and Grill, where you can give the bourbon sampler a try. It's a great way for you and your friends to discover which Kentucky spirit is your favorite. If you're coming to Rolex, you better get your reservation in early. 859-233-0512. That's 859-233-0512.
So I wanted to have a little talk about straightness because it's something you hear a lot about. And so firstly, when we're looking at a horse and rider combination that of finding it a challenge to be straight, we obviously need to ensure that the horse isn't carrying an injury or a saddle fit issue that's making it physically difficult for them to be straight. Two of the most common errors I see with the horse not being is that the horse isn't sufficiently forward and in a good rhythm, and the rider is actually crooked. If you think about if your horse is wandering along without any real rhythm or being forward and you're working really, really hard to try and get him straight, well, you've actually skipped some fairly important steps. On the training scale, straightness is quite a way along it. So first of all, you've got rhythm, suppleness, connection, and impulsion preceding straightness. So if you are struggling, always go back a few steps and check that you've got those elements first. One of my favourite exercises when I have someone in front of me complaining that they're not straight is just to say, drop your rein to the buckle and just ask the horse to walk or trot on and be nice and forward. Don't worry too much about where they're going. Obviously, this is much easier if you're in an enclosed space. And certainly don't worry about where their head is, but do check in with how much straighter he may be travelling, which brings us to you as a rider. You may be crooked in your own body, you may be crooked in your hands, in how you're asking for your horse to come into a connection. And I often like to do a sneaky video when people aren't aware that you're videoing, or you can ask a friend to video you and just have a look at it without going, oh my God, I look terrible on my horse. Look at it analytically and check if your hips are level, if your shoulders are level, if there's an equal length from the top of your breeches through to your armpits on each side. You really can't work on riding your horse straight until you're level yourself. And often, if we've been crooked for a long time, and I know most women, just think about the things we do all the time. We might hold a child on one hip permanently. We might carry a handbag on one side all the time. All of those things mean that we may not be as straight as we'd like to be, and you may need to actually have some body work done yourself because being crooked is going to feel normal to you if you've been like that for a long time, whereas feeling straight will feel a little bit weird. And you may, so check in with, whether you prefer your chiro or your osteo or any of those sorts of health professionals. And finally, just a really good exercise to practice with is come down your centre line in your arena, find a point at your eye height around 100 metres outside of the arena and ride towards that. So look at it, aim your sternum and belly button on it. Imagine you have a glass of water on each shoulder and make sure that one doesn't spill. I like to talk about, having glasses of champagne in each hand, and if you drop one, well, that's yours because I really like champagne and I'll be having the one that's not on the ground. Ride your trot rhythm really nice and forward, so where it feels easy to rise or post to the trot, and then make sure that when you're turning left or right at C that you keep that nice rhythm. And if you find that your horse is struggling in that 60 by 20 metre traditional dressage arena, just find a flat space outside the arena, or even you can do this sort of thing out on the trail. So, always make sure your horse is nice and forward and check in with yourself. Those are the two biggest errors I see with people becoming frustrated with riding their horse straight.
Very good. Thank you, Fiona. And of course, if you want more tips like this, you can go to remotecoach.com. Check out the website there.
Well, there you have it. You can find links to today's guests as well as tons more tips at horsetipdaily.com. Make sure to have all of your favorite Horse Radio Network shows with you wherever you go by downloading the free Horse Radio Network app for iPhone or Android. Just go to your app store and search Horse Radio Network. You can also subscribe via iTunes. This podcast was brought to you through the generous support of Clarion Hotel Lexington and listeners like you. This is Coach Jen, and I'll be back again soon with another tip. So until then, go ride your horse. The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.